Hi guys, and welcome to my Let's Play Skyrim Again Chapter 4 Mod Talk. This video is going to be about the mods I'm going to use in Chapter 4. Obviously, you guys have probably seen these videos before, you know what it's going to be like. I'm probably going to babble. It's probably going to be a little boring if you're not into mods, so be warned. If you're not interested in the mods I'm going to use, you just want to see the story continue, just wait a few days and hopefully I will have uploaded part 1. Yeah, it's probably going to be a few days, a week at the max, but I think a few days. Basically, the next time I get some playtime, I think I'm going to do Let's Play Skyrim. I'm pretty close to finishing the mods. I've more or less got my load order finished, so it's imminent. A week at the max, definitely. So just wait for that and continue on with the story, and you don't have to listen to me babble on about mods if you don't want. Okay, so this is Chapter 4, and I know some people might wonder, well, wasn't Let's Play Falskaar Chapter 4? And it was big enough. However, Falskaar is a side story. It is an optional side story at that. It's canon for me. As far as I'm concerned, it happened, but if for some reason you skipped it because you didn't like it, there's a continuation here, Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4, and as you can see, we're starting where we ended in Chapter 3. So it'll all fit, and, you can do what you want with that, okay? What's it? Okay, fine. So, right, mods. Now, a lot of quest mods have been installed. In fact, a lot of quest mods were installed last time. The Blades versus Thalmor. There were 4 mods, each with a complete quest. And I'd also installed Blades versus... Recruit More Blades, which I think ties those other 4 mods up by giving a quest giver in Skyhaven Temple, and which is a really cool idea. And not only will I be able to recruit a lot of followers as Blades, which might be a kind of cool idea, other than the fact that getting to and from Skyhaven Temple is still a monumental pain if you don't fast travel. It really is. What we need is a carriage. I need to get touring carriages to add a stop at Skyhaven. Oh, I know. There are some mods that allow teleporting there and so on, but it's just, I'd rather do it the... I don't know. Anyway, you guys know what I'm like. But the idea of fast travelling to Skyhaven every time I want to talk to a follower is kind of annoying. Anyway, what was I saying? Right, now, the Recruit More Blades mod also ties in with another mod called Helgen Reborn, which is yet another quest mod that I've wanted to try for a while, and now I've got a very good reason to do so. So I've installed that quest mod as well. I'm actually going to be trying out a lot of quest mods, not necessarily on Richard. I mean, I've got Wormtooth, got Rochbear coming, we've got several of them, and there are loads of them I want to try out. I also want to replay Moonpath to Elsewhere. I played it once before, but I'd like to do a Let's Play of it in its newer form, possibly with Richard. But probably not this chapter. What I might do with those is make those spin-offs, short spin-offs, the way I did with the Conan spin-off. And I may even bring some of my old characters out of retirement for that. So yes, a lot of quest mods, and...
We got rooms and food. Drink too. I cook. Ain't much else to tell.
Okay, nice. Go away. Looks dark here. Right, so... gives you some hint as what's probably going to happen. As you know, we're starting Chapter 4. The idea is Richard is going to go off and find Esbjörn and Delphine and continue on the main quest to, find out what is going on with the dragons and why we think the Thalmor might be involved or not. So, what are the mods? Right, I have installed... I don't know if you can hear it, the Audio Overhaul mod. It's a new mod, and it does sound interesting. Very bad pun, I know, but there you go. So we're going to be trying that out. I've installed the mod called Stable U-Grids. Now, I am not pushing my grids. I'm leaving it at the default 5, but apparently that makes it more stable. So I'm trying that out. I have removed some mods that improve distant terrain and enhance the distant terrain by adding low polygon objects, because I was getting some instability in places. Not major, but I was getting it. And I did receive some hints that it might be those mods. Now obviously that's going to make the distant terrain look a little worse for wear, which is, you know, it is unfortunate, but there you go.
I'm just a cook, lad.
Don't call me lad, please, really. Look as old as you. In fact, I'm probably older. I've lost my train of thought now. That was annoying. What other mods have I got? Okay, just checked my load order and it reminded me the one thing I'd forgotten to mention was water. I was going to try the Water 2 mod, Realistic Water 2, and I did, but I got a lot of glitches. A lot of weird glitches, actually. I think it was actually connected to the distance overhaul mods that I've since uninstalled, so I might go back and try it again. However, I was a tiny bit worried about it because that is a mod that really does change a lot of things. It adds a lot of things to the game, whereas the water mod I'm using at the moment, Pure Waters, I think is mostly a texture overhaul. I might be wrong, but I think it's you know, it's a lot more lightweight, shall we say. So I'm a little nervous about trying Water 2, seeing as the Richard save is now fairly old, really. It's fairly well abused already, and that's a sort of mod that changes a lot of outside spaces, and you get where I'm going with this. I've got that slight nervousness that we're going to end up with a Steve. So I don't know. I might try the mod out on an old save and review it, but I'm thinking for the Richard playthrough to play safe and stick with Pure Waters. I'm maybe being a big coward on this, but seeing as I had some instabilities when I was trying stuff out this week, I'm a little nervous now. And I think it was mostly to do with the enhanced distant terrain and the fact that sometimes I was trying Ugrid 7 as well, but I want to be careful now and really not push it. And what I also want to do from now on is just add mods and not remove them where possible. It's a lot safer. A lot more mods are actually doing that now. They're actually allowing you to disable the mod and not uninstall it, which is actually safer. Even though it leaves an ESP in your load order, it is actually safer. So Immersive HUD and DYNAVISION are the same. You can actually go along to iHUD or DYNAVISION. If you turn the depth of field to off, it literally terminates all the scripts. If you go to Immersive HUD and untick this, so it deactivates, it turns off all of the scripts, nothing happens, and the only way you can start it again is from the MCM menu. That's for both mods. So they sit there and they do absolutely nothing, and they're very small mods with very little in them, so it shouldn't cause any memory problems. Well, it won't cause any memory problems. Once those scripts are terminated, the only time they'll do anything is when MCM opens and you select something. So a lot of mods are doing that, and I think that's a good thing. Don't uninstall mods if you don't have to. I can tell you, for example, there is a mod I cannot uninstall now, and that is the arrow spin mod. There's a mod I have that makes arrows spin, and I can't uninstall that now. If I uninstall that, I get all sorts of glitches. So there you go. So just be warned about uninstalling mods. That was off at a tangent. Big surprise, obviously. So that was Water 2, and the more observant of you are probably noticing that I seem to be using an ENB, and I am. I am, in this Let's Play, possibly going to try one or more ENBs. I might try a few different ones, actually, which means some episodes might look a little different to others. You'll get over it. You will. Right? I'm testing mods out. This is Phenix ENB, I believe. That's how it's called. And I've never actually said it out loud, I don't think. So this is Phenix ENB, and it's very nice indeed. It's very good performance, especially on my system, which is now pretty amazing. It doesn't have depth of field by default, but of course I'm using DYNAVISION, and that works fine. So, a couple of things about Phenix ENB. It is a very natural looking ENB. It doesn't sort of make everything super colourful. It sort of enhances things like browns, greens, I've noticed. and I really do like the look. It's got a very vanilla feel, actually. It's not that different to the vanilla look. It's just kind of vanilla, but better, if that makes any sense. It also works with night vision, which is a major plus point, really. I mean, that is a major plus point. Although, and this is one minor with it, if you look at this interior, it's pretty light. In fact, it's very light. It's actually lighter than it would be with realistic lighting overhaul. And the same is true in dungeons. The dungeons are actually lighter. It's kind of strange. Not sure how I feel about that. It probably makes the videos more pleasant to watch. My guess is this video is going to look a lot nicer than the usual ones because the visibility is good as well as the image looking nice. Dungeons are probably the same, but it might take some of the creepiness out. I may tweak this ENB to have a little less ambient light. Maybe not in interiors, actually. Maybe the interiors are good if the visibility is nice. Just lends itself to the story. But for dungeons, I think I'll reduce the ambient light so it's a little darker. So that's what I mean by I've still got a few tweaks left. There is one small problem with this ENB, and it is the aliasing. I'm going to show you by loading another save, actually. This one. And it's the aliasing. ENB mods are notoriously bad at anti-aliasing, and this one, I'm afraid, is no different. There are a few extra settings you can try. There are a couple of extra anti-aliasing techniques you can enable in the settings, but they still don't make the anti-aliasing look good. As you can see, it's... what time of day is it? Okay, so this is 6 in the evening, and it's pretty nice. It's not very bright. It's getting a little dark. The colours are kind of a little bit more vibrant, but kind of natural. And see, this is Richard in full glass. It's an old save, and it's the aMidianBorn texture, which is slightly more vibrant than the one I used to use, the dark one, but it looks pretty nice actually. Right, so the anti-aliasing. I want you to look at, you see the fence ahead, the one that's in centre screen? I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it shimmers horribly. I mean, it really does. As we run towards it, look at it, it shimmers horribly. All fences do that, and several other objects as well, including the edges of things like the bridge. It's noticeable on trees, bushes, and, in fact, everything. If you really look at it, the floor, the planks in the distance are shimmering until you get close. It's kind of annoying, and
as if Skyrim didn't have enough.
I don't like it. It's one of the reasons that I ended up not using ENBs in Fallout New Vegas. However, it's not the end of the world. I can enable the game's anti-aliasing. Now, I tried using the NVIDIA Inspector and never quite got it working, but the game's anti-aliasing can work if you turn off the, what's it called? Deferred shaders? I think it's called deferred shaders. The deferred rendering, excuse me. If you turn off the deferred rendering, you can have anti-aliasing and it's fine. The problem with that is you lose ambient occlusion, which is, you know, ambient occlusion is nice. However, I need good anti-aliasing. Okay, now this is 8 times anti-aliasing, which is very good anti-aliasing, and you can see the shimmer. I mean, there is a tiny shimmer there, there is, but that's the shimmer I used to get in the game anyway. That's the normal shimmer I get. I'm not seeing it on other items like the planks very much, the trees, and so on. It is far nicer indeed, actually. So, that is how I think I'm going to play. I'm going to play with 8 times anti-aliasing and no ambient occlusion, and a few other effects turned off because I'm not using the deferred rendering. And in case you're wondering how it makes the inside look, it does change it a little. The ambient occlusion, you can notice it. I mean, the table under there no longer has ambient occlusion. The pillars don't have it at the base, so if you look at the base of the pillars, they're a lot sharper than they would be with the ambient occlusion. Little details like that do make the scene look better, but on the whole, you probably won't notice when playing. And all round, it's still a nice improvement. And not having that horrible shimmer. I mean, you go back and check it. In fact, I might even do a comparison shot of the shimmer with the ENB anti-aliasing and the shimmer with this. I didn't do them at the same time. But anyway, whatever. So you can actually see the difference. But it bothered me. That definitely did bother me. So this is how I think I'm going to run it. Now, just to show you why it is still worth using the ENB even without ambient occlusion, look at this scene, right? I'm like, this is a beautiful scene, but let me turn off the ENB. So this is without ENB. It's Climates of Tamriel and DYNAVISION, and it's not bad. I mean, it's a good looking scene. It's very clear. The water's clear, but there's no sun effect. You know, there's no real. No bloom, no real impact, and there are a few other things which I will show you. But the main thing, the absolute main thing, look at the shadows. Look at the shadows around the armpits, underneath the shield. You see the shimmering pixelation? That's the horrible Skyrim shadows. And this is ultra. This is shadow set at ultra. Look at under his chin. How horrible that is. Now watch as I put the ENB on. See how much nicer that is, especially under the chin. The shadows are natural, it looks good, they don't shimmer. There's possibly a slight shimmer, but it's almost impossible to notice. It's a beautiful sight in comparison. And watch the sun. Oh, look at that. The god rays, that little kind of, that effect is just so nice. And look at these trees. Look at these trees. Let me turn the ENB off. Do you notice, look at the trees themselves, and you'll notice how they're slightly darker on one side than the other, but only slightly. They're slightly lighter on the side with the sun, but it is very, very minor. Now watch with the ENB. You see how much more pronounced it is, that you can see the lit side of the tree versus the unlit side of the tree. It just for some reason looks nicer. I don't know why. I really like that. The same's true of the rocks. So all over, I just think this scene here, this scene is nicer with this ENB than without it. See, that's without, that is with. So this is Phenix ENB, which I'm really liking actually. But just to give you an idea of the performance I'm getting now, you can see here, 60 frames a second. Now, I don't know if you remember this fight, this dragon fight that went on forever, but my frame rate here, without ENB, this was without ENB, when I played that, revolved between about 45 and 55. That was because I was using a weaker graphics card. So with my new graphics card and an ENB, I'm more or less getting 60 frames a second here, this was my benchmark place. So it's looking like this ENB is very playable indeed. Oh, and seeing as this has turned into a bit of a mini review of Phenix ENB, I might as well show you what I mean by the dungeons and why I'm going to have to tweak them. This is Bleakfall Barrows with the ENB, and this is without, with just realistic lighting. And as you can see, the realistic lighting is a lot darker than the ENB. ENB back on. The ENB definitely does brighten it up, and for dungeons I think that's not happening for me. I want the darker because there's no point even having night vision. I mean, literally the ENB almost is night vision. It looks nice, but I'm going to get rid of some of the ambient light. Okay guys, I think that's about it. That is my extended mod talk, and yeah, pretty much it's done. As I said, I've got some minor tweaks to do to the ENB, but it's really just about the dungeon darkness. I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. My mods look fairly solid, and I'm ready to go fairly soon. So I look forward to seeing you guys on part 1.